Hi everyone, thanks for watching. This is Adam Zapier and this is Philosophy on Point. I'm just making this little introduction video for you because I've got a few videos up already, but they don't really show what the channel's all about. Now, what is it about, I hear you ask? Okay, I don't hear you, I'm sitting in a room on my own. But what I do know is that if you've been looking at my Facebook page or Instagram, you'll probably realize this is about archery to a large extent, as well as fishing, particularly fly fishing. But what you won't know, or most likely won't know, and the title of this channel kind of gives it away or gives some kind of hint into it with the philosophy part, is that we're not just looking at hunting, bow hunting, fishing from a typical point of view. What I'm trying to do here is give a perspective on the thoughts behind hunting and fishing, about the people that are against it as well, to try and get a good overview of how these things are perceived in the world now. And not only am I going to talk about them in a general sense, I'm also going to talk about the fact that there's a lot of things that are considered by other hunters, for example, as not right or not ethical or whatever. And I really want to delve into those things and look at them from a perspective based on the way I think about things, and also the fact that my current situation in life is based quite a lot in psychology. And the reason for that is I'm currently studying a Bachelor of Psychological Science and Cognitive Neuroscience. And that's where I think, even though a lot of it's going to be more general psychology based and to do with the way people think, I also want to eventually look at how people think about things, and maybe even once I get a higher understanding myself of the cognitive side of things, start looking into why people think the way they do about hunting, and to a lesser extent fishing, because it's generally a bit more accepted in society these days. But still, there's always questions being asked, and I think it's good to look into them from all sorts of angles to try and understand why the people that are opposed to this kind of thing are opposed to it, and to understand how we can grow, I guess, more people into getting involved, because I think that's really important. I hear a lot of people talk about it, but not really so much from a psychological perspective, and I think it could be quite interesting to talk about it in this way. So hopefully you're going to find this channel interesting. Make sure you subscribe. If there's any comments you want to make, any topics you want to bring up, bring them down below. But what I'm going to do is I really would like to point out a few of the topics that I'm going to address at some point. There's going to be a lot more, but these ones in particular are a couple that came up early on in my thought process of making this channel. So before I even posted my first video, I thought about this one in particular, and that is baiting for bears. Now, it's something that gets a really bad name. I'm not saying whether I'm for it or against it. You're going to have to listen to the video I make on that eventually to get a good idea of how I feel about it and why. And I'm going to delve into why people think about it the way they do. We've already heard, if you listen to the likes of Stephen Ranella over at Meat Eater, about the I can't even say the word, anthropomorphization, or I don't know. But you've probably heard the term. I'll make sure I look it up before I make that video. But it's generally about the way bears are perceived. You know, we see them in cartoons and all that sort of stuff. Not going to go into it now, but I'm going to go beyond that and look into what I think the ethics behind it are. And that's something else. I'm going to talk about what ethics are, how they change between different people's viewpoints of what is ethical and what is not. And all of that, I hope, will help build some kind of base to help us understand each other as hunters, and also, if there's people watching that aren't hunters, to help them understand us. And being able to understand them is really important as well. So that can help us shape the way we put ourselves out there and things like that. So what I also want to do is point out that I have only just got into the idea of bow hunting. Well, I thought about it a long time ago, but I've only just got into it now. I bought my first bow in January. Well, not quite first bow, but that's another story in itself I'll leave for another time. But what I am going to say is I haven't actually hunted with my bow yet. I'm just practicing. I want to make sure that I think my shot and skill is at a level that is going to be ethical to my standards, which I hope will be ethical to every other bow hunter's standards out there. So what I think is that a lot of people will hear that and go, well, what do you know about hunting? Well, I grew up with a father that hunted. I used to go away all the time, hunting, fishing, camping. And even though I haven't done it much in recent times, it played a huge part in my upbringing. We used to go and shoot rabbits, pigs, and that was it mainly. I mean, we didn't do any goat hunting, even though there probably were goats not too far away from some of the places we went to. Certainly not opposed to that, and I'm hopefully going to do that with the bow at some point. So anyway, stay tuned. Hopefully you find this interesting, and there's a lot more to come. Before I go, I mentioned the bear baiting. I'm going to talk about baiting in general as well. So there'll probably be 2 separate videos. And there is one other topic that came up that I thought about early on. And that topic I cannot think of right now. There's heaps of topics, and I've got a huge list written down, so it's going to take me a long time to go through and make all those videos. Now, if you've got any questions, any suggestions that you'd like me to talk about, or you just want to say something, feel free to leave a comment below. I'd really appreciate it. Any input you've got, especially at this stage, would be fantastic. And hopefully I'll get some videos going on a consistent basis sometime soon. For now, I just want to get this one out there and get things started. Anyway, I think things are going to get a lot more interesting going forward, so keep an eye out. I'll be posting on Instagram and on Facebook to let you guys know when the videos are up. So keep an eye out for those, like I said, and I'll hopefully see you in the next video really soon.